Overwatch is a dead game. Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. That is not entirely true, is it? Now, if you Google, you will see a ton of videos on YouTube. You can just go wherever you want to look, whatever. You'll see videos, you'll see articles about the death of Overwatch, the decline of the game. Now, is the game dead? No. Is the game doing okay? Well, we do have some info we can cover in this video to sort of, well, it points towards that it's doing okay. As to what the future is for the game, we don't know. But I think this is the thing we kind of need to realize. I think we need to give a big congratulations to the Overwatch team because they've saved the game through cancelling PvE and releasing K-pop skins and Kiriko skins and cost-effective recolors. So I think actually what I'm trying to say here is when we talk about Overwatch being a dead game, it is more so the innovation in Overwatch, the pushing Overwatch to the next level, right? Which is what Overwatch 2 was supposed to be with all of the associated stuff that was meant to come with that. Now, it is quite depressing if you go back and look at BlizzCon, I should say, and even BlizzCon Online. I was getting confused between the two. Showcases for Overwatch 2. You'll see tons of new content. Things like the hero talents look insane. There's a great demo reel of Genji's hero talents, you know, like with his Dragon Blade bouncing off different targets, different types of Torb turrets. There's like loads of stuff. Really cool. Mei turning into a snowball. That is gameplay innovation, but that's not going to come to this game. We know that PvE has been cancelled, and we know that now they have pretty much essentially pushed the game into that live service arena where there's no innovation. It is just, we've got Overwatch, a very strong IP, very strong heroes, and a lot of people love this game because they do, and they love the heroes. Our gameplay is pretty similar to what it used to be, and then we're adding new content, which, by the way, guys, I don't know whether you guys have played Clash. Fucking hell, that's not great at all, that mode. I don't even know how that got out of testing and got put into the live game as is. That is a horrible mode. That is just doesn't feel like Overwatch at all. But it's probably to tick a box, right? We've added a new game mode, we've added new maps, blah, 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 blah. We just keep adding stuff to the game. But as I say, you know, we get heroes, we get maps, we get game modes. And yeah, beyond that, we get a shitload of collaborative skin events, which are all marketing-driven deals to generate money. We get a shitload of recolored skins because they're very cost-effective and generate a ton of profit because they're so cheap to make. We get a shit ton of legendary skins, a shit ton of shop items, a shit ton of mythic weapons now, again, with a stupid currency. It's like, what has happened with Overwatch? And this is, I think, where a lot of the old school players get really a bit pissed when they look at the state of Overwatch. They're not so much talking about the game itself, because the gameplay, you know, you guys can see from the video, the footage in this video, it's not actually that bad, right? I mean, it's Overwatch. It's not bad. It's just Overwatch. You can't get this anywhere else. You will have fun playing it. I mean, what I've actually found myself falling into recently is more of a, I'm not playing Overwatch. I mean, weeks will go by where I don't even play Overwatch. And then I play it for a few days, and like, you know what, I'm having fun. But then when I start getting like, you know, let's have a look at the bigger picture around Overwatch, I'm like, oh, there's a... like, what is it? Some sort of anime. I can't remember what it is. My Hero something. I can't remember what it is. My Hero Academia. Also, I don't fucking know what that is. I don't know. Although, I watched Uzumaki the other day. What the fuck is going on with that? Spirals. Anyway, yeah, like, as I'm saying, we're just going from collaborative event to collaborative event. So we're getting updates, and the updates are just like, you know, they get lost in the noise. There are things which have been added to the game recently, which I'm going to be honest, I can see there's intent to maybe... Well, I don't know. I'm just going to be brutal here. I'm going to be totally brutal. The drive system, which is in the game right now, the graphical representation under the names is atrocious. I don't know how that got approved. They look horrible. They look absolutely terrible, right? These big red nameplate things, they look garbage, right? Then it kind of dawned on me, actually, they probably look garbage because they'll probably sell you once at some point that look better. I don't know. I mean, that's conspiracy theorism going wild, but, you know, whatever. We can all laugh at that. However, what is that system about? Well, it's trying to get people to play more of the game through FOMO, and that's what really pisses me off with this game. Like, they're not actually just putting systems into the game that make you go, you know what, I actually want to play this. They're saying, if you play this game and you play a certain number of games really fast over the weekend, you can earn points, competitive points. You can buy yourself a Jade weapon skin. Also, you get nameplates as well if you keep playing and keep playing. It's like, okay, you're increasing the player numbers, you're increasing your engagement, but it is essentially artificial. Now, does that matter? I don't know. But to me, if I was a game designer, I'd be sitting there going, guys, this is shit. We're just literally getting people FOMO'd into playing more of the game. And of course, there are knock-on effects to this with the drive system. You can only be done in competitive. You can't do it in quick play or any of the other modes. So you end up with people that might not play comp going and playing comp. Now, I think this has worked out in my advantage because, like I said, I haven't played comp for ages in Overwatch. The footage you guys are seeing throughout this video, it's predominantly me playing on Zarya. I just went in and I think it placed me in like Diamond 3 and the games are dead easy. I'm like, what's going on here? Is everyone trash? Obviously, I've been placed lower than I probably should be, but I'm not no pro player. I'm probably like low masters at best. But, I mean, the games are just crazy. They're like totally one-sided. And it's probably because, and then it dawned on me, these are people who are just trying to get the stupid nameplate rewards because they're like, oh, I must play this mode. You know, and people are simple animals, right? And again, this is what pissed me off with Overwatch. And I know we've been over this and done it to death, but when they're putting things in the game where it's like, oh, it's limited time mode, you've got to do this now. If you don't do it, then you won't get it. By the way, 6 months later, we've actually relaunched that skin again. You know, things like, it's like, oh, or they do things like, oh, you'll only get it in the battle pass. Oh, no, we're selling a battle pass skin. Or this item, it's only here. I mean, and then it's back. It's like, okay, guys, what are we doing? And this is kind of, it leans into this whole thing of the death of the innovation in Overwatch. Now, I've said this before and I will say this again. I do believe there are some incredibly talented people working on Overwatch. You can see when you look at like the quality of the skins, the quality of the new heroes. Look at Juno, Venture. They're all like highly unique heroes. They're very well made heroes. They've got good kits. They're enjoyable to play. You know, great voice acting, all of that. They always kill that. Great sound design. Even the maps, right? I might say sit here and go Clash is crap, but the Clash maps look great. You know, Temple of Anubis looks great. Well, it should be Temple of Anubis. It's not, is it? Whatever it's called now. But, you know, it's great to be back in that world again. But also, like, they are well made. They're well put together. But it's just more of the additional stuff, really, which you start getting hit with, which is, as I say, it is quite soul-destroying when you realise, actually, all they're doing is incentivising themselves to keep making... I'm not going to call them low effort, because they're not low effort. Like I said, these are made by some of the best people in the industry. But it's all the game really is. It's like, let's just make collaborative events all the time. Let's do a massive collaborative event. Let's get rid of animated shorts, because we're going to use that budget to make animated short adverts for our next collaborative event, like they did last year with La Seraphim. I'm sure we'll get the same this year with whatever big brand they've got lined up. We're just hammering the same. It feels to me like they're just going after the same like audience, with the exception of the Porsche collaboration, which was insane. It's like it's just basically anime. Let's keep going. You can get really cynical. We talk about Venture and say like, well, Venture doesn't have a skin. Juno was added to the game after Venture and has already got skins. Wouldn't it be funny if the mythic skin for next season was Juno? It would be good if it was Venture, though, Blizzard. I'd say that, right? And that would be a saving grace. You can go down the path as to why heroes like Kiriko, Mercy, Juno get skins over heroes like Junkrat, Venture, Hog. You know, it's like... Anyway, let's move on. So what I want to do here is take a look at this comment that Jason Schreier made. So I think what I'll do is I'll fire this up on the screen. So basically, this is the comment, right? And this is Jason basically getting asked, what's going on with Overwatch? Is the game doing well? And he says, I think it's doing well, and Blizzard definitely plans to keep supporting it and doing new Overwatch stuff. I think killing the PvE was part of their plan to return to profitability. Although I don't know what the numbers look like these days. Blizzard remains opaque about their profit-sharing bonuses and how those are triggered. Now, the return to profitability for the game. They fired a shitload of staff. So one of the surefire ways of making more money straight away is to reduce your staffing numbers. You don't have to pay them their salaries. If you get rid of hundreds of them, you save millions of dollars. And you're like, well, we've saved loads of time. This has clearly happened at Overwatch. Now, we know that the development of Overwatch 2's PvE was a shit show, and it was stalling and there was tons of issues with it. What they ended up giving us in Invasion was horrible. Like, this was crap. It was 10, well, not 10 years is extreme. It's 5 years out of date. There was nothing new about it. There was no innovation. There should have been, and there may have been, if the old team was left in place. But who knows when we would have got that content. So it's a miracle, really, that we got any of the content that we did. In reaction to this, Blizzard go, we're removing the PvE team because the sales to Invasion, which, by the way, should have been fucking free. I don't know why they were trying to sell us that. Invasion should have been free, and then, I don't know, back it up with cosmetics or whatever. But no, they went again for the sort of it's not even FOMO. It's like, well, I guess it is FOMO. It is fear of missing out, right? If you don't have this, you cannot play it. So it's the long-awaited PvE. We know we've got millions of players from Overwatch 1 days. They want to play the PvE, sorry. Maybe they haven't been playing the game for ages, and they think, shit, we're going to try it. Let's pay it. It's $15 or whatever it was, right? Or $10. I don't know how much it was. I can't remember. And then you're like, what's this? It's terrible. And then you tell your mates, it's terrible. Or you're a dickhead like me and you make a video going, this is shit. And it's like, oh my God. And it's not just me. You know, hundreds of videos are made, loads of articles. It was absolutely crap. It was not great. As a result of that, it gets canned. Now, for a while, they were doing the, again, I forgot the name of this bloody mode. That trial mode. What's it called? I forgot. Where you're in like the sort of virtual reality maps, you know, easy to make maps. And then you do like a hero trial or whatever they're called. Personally, I don't care about those, and I don't think they're interested enough to warrant having like a full-blown PvE team, which obviously Blizzard thought the same thing. So they get rid of the PvE team. Now, what have they got left? And again, I've said this before, and I will say it again. The IP of Overwatch is so phenomenally well built. Like the heroes, the world. I know there's still so much they could do with the lore. There's so much, like it's just such a missed opportunity. And of course, we learned recently about the Netflix series, which you know, was cancelled because of Activision shenanigans, i.e., suing Netflix. That could have been great. That could have been something that propels Overwatch again, like back into the limelight, pushing boundaries again. Because the reality is, what we've got at the moment isn't pushing any boundaries. Basically, Overwatch is your game, which is it's Blizzard's live service game, right? It's Microsoft's, or one of Microsoft's live service games, and that's how it's being run. And it feels to me like they've scaled the team down, they've cut off departments that are not making money, and they've increased departments, or rather, maybe just supported departments that are making money, i.e. the product marketing team who are getting all of these skin collaboration deals. We're making money off these guys. Let's give them more backing. Let's get more of them into the game. Skin recolors, very easy to make. We make a lot of profit. Let's get more of them into the game. It's like, okay, heroes make us money, so get more of them, get them into the game, right? So in one way, we do win because of that, right? Maps and the world is probably secondary to heroes, but they still want to keep new content coming, so they're still supporting that and going in that direction. But again, it's this priority issue, right? It's the issue of we're not seeing a game which is pushing the boundary. We're not seeing a game which is, again, like I don't know what developers think, because a lot of the developers that I know have since long moved on from Blizzard entirely. But I would like to think if I was developing Overwatch and I was working on the game, I would want to work on new things. Or I'd say, like, you know, let's maybe let's reinvent the competitive formula of the game. Let's reinvent the world. Let's reinvent how we make new heroes. Let's, you know, something which is pushing us forward. Not, I really want to make mythic skins for heroes. Actually, we can make them for weapons as well. You know what, guys? You know the weapon animations that we had, the inspect animations that we showed in the first trailer? Tell you what, let's sell them. But boss, we can't do that because people will be mental. Yeah, but we'll package them with mythic skins and we'll sell them. Oh, good idea, boss. That's the problem. You know, like, this to me, it almost stinks of, like, it's not like the people getting rewarded are the people who are making more money or finding ways to make more money. To give like a crazy analogy, this would be like, imagine if you worked in a company that sold bolts, right? And you were like, okay, we sell millions of these bolts every day. It's fantastic. But you know what I've done? I've increased the price of the bolt by 0.1 pence. Nobody's realized. Everybody's still buying the bolts. Guess what, boss? I've just increased our profits by X amount. Great job there, Sty. You're a hero, my man. Instead of the guy who's making a new generation of bolt, you know, or making some sort of better bolt, you know, that person, forget them. It's like, no, the person that's actually managed to find a clever way to make more money is winning. And in the Overwatch world, it very much feels to me like that's the person who's going, let's just stuff recolors into this. Let's get another anime collab. Let's put another skin in for Kiriko. Let's bundle these things together in such a way as to create FOMO in the shop. Let's say people are getting a crazy amount of discount when really they're not. Let's do this, let's do that. And it's like, oh my God, what are you doing, guys? But I do want to say, right, it's not all doom and gloom, because Overwatch is not a game which it's not like it doesn't have any player base, right? So I've took a long time to get to this in the video, but I do want to talk about this now. So let's talk some player-based numbers. On the topic of numbers, I'm going to say this straight away. Concurrent player numbers don't matter, right? They're something you can gravitate towards and go, oh, look, there's not many people playing this game today or whatever, or this game's got more concurrent players. That's not the whole story. The story with these live service games, unfortunately, is how much money they make per player. So if they've got a system where they, Overwatch every 9 weeks comes out with a major update, that could translate to every 9 weeks, people log in, spend money, and they just play for a week or so. Then they come back 9 weeks later. That's completely sustainable in that way, right? With whatever they're spending money on, I guess. So anyway, we will look at some concurrent figures, right? And I'm going to throw these up quick because I do think we need to sort of analyze and break down what this means, right? So firstly, SteamDB, right? Okay, 44,000 people playing right now, and there's been a 75,000 peak all time. That was 14 months ago when Overwatch 2 launched on Steam, and it's had a 55,000 player peak. Now, I'll get rid of these numbers because those are the only numbers we've got. Now, there are websites you can go to, and they'll claim they've got numbers for concurrent player accounts. They can't. They cannot possibly have them because they don't have access to that data. We don't know how many people are playing on Xbox, PlayStation 5 and 4, and Switch, I suppose, and even on Battle.net. But what we can do is make some pretty solid assumptions, I would say. So if we take the player number on Steam and we say 55,000 people, peak concurrence, play that, right? So throughout the day, that's millions of people coming in and out, right? Or at least hundreds and hundreds of thousands coming out and playing the game. So that's going to be less than Battle.net. I don't play Overwatch on Steam, and I bet you don't play it on Steam, right? If you played it on Battle.net, you're still going to play it on Battle.net because why would you play it on Steam? There are some cases like, okay, maybe your friends on Steam or whatever, but majority of players, I would say, are still playing on Battle.net. So you can probably maybe even double that number. So if you can say there's 55,000 peak in 24 hours on Steam, there's probably 100,000 or maybe even more on PC just on Battle.net. Then when you throw in the consoles, which again, we don't have figures for this. So again, this is sort of like hearsay, almost like take my word for it kind of stuff. But it's essentially similar, maybe even a little bit more, maybe even a little bit less. The only solid data I was ever given on this is going back years and years ago, was during my negotiations to be part of Spitfire when that franchise was getting set up. The only reason that the team that picked up Spitfire wanted Spitfire, because it really made no sense to that organization, because they're not from the UK, they're not from Europe even, right? They only wanted it because they were told the size of the console player base in England and the UK was fucking massive, and they wanted to break into that kind of arena with the console esports, and Europe in general just had more console players, I think. The US obviously was still a massive market, and then when you throw PC and whatever, US was a bigger market, but still a lot of people playing on PC. So what do we get from all of this wild speculation on numbers? I reckon if you look at Overwatch, over every platform, its peak concurrence of a day is honestly probably somewhere around 250,000, 300,000 players. That's a lot of players, really, for a live service game. It doesn't put it in the top. This isn't as big as like an Apex Legends. Probably isn't even as big as a Valorant, although I would argue there are bits of data flying around which just kind of say that maybe Valorant and Overwatch are quite similar player base-wise. Valorant, though, is a lot more aggressively monetized, cleverly monetized, I would say, because Valorant's whole thing of making the weapon skins almost like fashion items for people and dropping them like a fashion drop was very clever, because that makes people want to buy them to show them off in the game. Whereas Overwatch is, yeah, we've been through it all. Skins they're great for people looking at the skin, but not so much for the people playing the skin, unless they like the weapon skin, which of course now they sell the weapon skin. So, but hopefully that makes them more money, maybe. So I reckon, like, player base wise, the numbers are probably quite good for Overwatch. Now, talking of Steam as well, it does have to be said that if you go to a website like Gamealytic, they do break down the Steam players by country, and you can see that actually there is 34.8% of players from China are on Steam. So Steam is almost being used as predominantly the Chinese gamers platform, and you can kind of see that if you go back and look at the graph itself for concurrent players. The times it goes up and down may correlate with Chinese prime gaming hours. So where are we? What's the moral of this story? Well, the moral of the story is Overwatch is a great game. Overwatch heroes are fantastic. The Overwatch world is fantastic. What Overwatch 2 was going to be is never going to be. That's just over. That's finished. It's gone. What they've got is a live service game, which it's going to be interesting to see how they allocate their funding going forward, right? if they're returning to profitability with what they're doing now, they're going to do more of it. And that makes me sad, because it means you're just going to get more collaborations. You're just going to get more in the way of that kind of content, which isn't things that I want, right? Now, I know a lot of people will buy skins. I hope a lot of you guys watching this video are similar to me and think, you know, like, I remember you throw things around like, we'll use Helldivers as the example because fuck it. But you go, okay, you could buy a whole game there, right, for $40. Or you can buy like a mythic skin for a hero in Overwatch. It's like on a level of what you are getting for that transaction, it is laughable. Now, I know it is not as simple as that, because if you're invested in a hero, you know, I'm sure there's many people out there, right, who might be like, you know, let's say you're a Reinhardt main, right? Well, you've been loving it. You've been given like mythic weapons, insane skins, like all the time. You get loads of collaboration skins. Blizzard obviously know that, hey, Reinhardt mains spend money. Let's keep giving them stuff. That's my takeaway from it. But if you are that player who plays a hero and plays them to death, and you see that mythic skin, to you look at your hours played, think, I've got thousands of hours in this game. Sure, I will give them $40 for that. That's a good deal to me. My argument is just like, maybe it's an age-related thing, and I'm pretty sure it is. It becomes like, well, actually, you can get an entire game there. Like, the mythic skin doesn't add anything to me playing Overwatch, right? You can get an entire game for that. And the more you start connecting that in your head, you're like, what the hell is this about? Like, why would I spend money on that? This is where I come in with the argument of, if they were selling experiences or stuff that made sense, that was actually worth buying, then you would buy it. But the problem is that is gone. This game will not get that anymore, because this is a free-to-play game. This isn't a game which is buy to play and then selling you expansions, which I'm sure probably was the original plan for it, which might have been okay. But even then, maybe that's an outdated plan, and you do need the player base from free to play, and then that's got monetization that comes with it. But I will say as well is this: games, you know, games are free to play, and then they came up with systems like battle passes. I know Fortnite came up with that first. The guy who was involved in that runs Overwatch 2 now. Anyway, he's the general manager. So it's like, you can see what they were doing. They were like, that's work. Let's bring this guy and let's inject all of that into the game. And it's like, to me, it's sad, because it's almost like the death of creativity. It's the death of like what the future could be for Overwatch. Instead, it's like, you know, it's a monetization platform, and that's not really what I don't think people wanted. It's not what I wanted. This is why I'm sitting here ranting for like 20 minutes about the game. It's like, you don't want a monetization platform. What you want is an evolving game, an evolving world that tantalizes you, that gives you new experiences. You don't get that, though, because it's just, you've got the Overwatch experience you've always got. That's not a bad thing. Like I said, you know, it is still unique. Nobody has ever been able to take that on. But it is, I think it is an interesting point of debate, isn't it, guys? All right, I'll leave the video at this. So basically, guys, the game isn't dead. If you enjoy Overwatch, play Overwatch. It's still fun. I still think you know, everything about it is still fine. There are stupid things that annoy me. Like, I don't like the user portrait crap they've got going on with this drive system. I don't even like the user portraits they've got in the game anyway. I hate the new rank icons. I get confused. I'm like, I don't even know what rank that is. I don't know why they changed elements like that. It was like just done for the sake of it. It doesn't make any sense. But I think all in all, it is probably going to be around for a while. But what I would say is I would expect more of the, you know, the monetization that we've been getting, if it is working, if what Jason Schreier said is to be believed. Again, it depends on whether it's working enough, because if Blizzard or now Microsoft go, hey, let's look at your quarterly report. You're not making enough money, guys. What are we doing? Well, the nuclear option is to, again, reduce the size of the team. And I don't know how much they can do that. You know, on the one hand, you've got you've got like, I know I'd said it in the video, but I've carried on ranting. You've got the whole thing of like, we can increase our profit margins here by reducing our staff numbers. So we'll do that. But when you start doing that, you're losing a lot of talent. You've got brain drain. You're never going to recover from that. So what's going to happen then? You know, those people might go to other games, other studios, and they might do their great work there, and you're losing out on that. It becomes very difficult. Once you start letting people go, to get them back, they probably won't come back, but it's difficult, right? And then it's almost like they're forcing themselves down this avenue of, we're just going to be this platform to sell skins and collaborative items for our heroes, because everyone knows our heroes and they want to see them dressed up as X IP, you know, and that's kind of what it is. But it still is enjoyable. The game still is enjoyable. Like, I don't let anyone take that away from you. I still play the game, as I say. It still is enjoyable. I'm not playing it to death. Maybe that's just the way things go in the, you know, in the future. You're not just going to play the same game forever. Nobody is. But I do think there could have been decisions that they could have made that would have made us play the game more. Anyway, all right, guys, enough of that mad rant. I just wanted to get it off my chest because it was doing my head in with seeing all this stuff about Overwatch is dead. I'm like, it's not dead. It can't possibly be dead. I mean, you can even do your own basic stuff. Like, you can just look on Twitter. The numbers are probably fucking made up on Twitter, but look on Twitter and you see the amount of likes and views and engagements on like Overwatch related stuff. I'm talking things like fan art. It's great. You know, people love it. They're like, wow, we really love this IP. And that's what they're saying. And it's like Blizzard are not really giving people a reason to love. And I haven't even gone into the whole thing about the state of the anniversary event this year and, you know, just all of that associated stuff. But yeah, it does feel like it is transitioning very much into a platform which is just there to basically pull money out of people because they like the heroes and love the game, because there's no other option really if you want to play that kind of thing. Which I'm not a big fan of, but we'll see. We'll see what they do. Definitely developing, and we'll see what happens going forward. All right, guys, thanks for watching the video. I've been Stylosa. If you enjoyed that, then do let me know what you think about this in the comments below, as I'm sure you already have. And yeah, I'll catch you lovely lot on the next one. See you soon.